Hello YouTube, my name is William Ogden, and this is my very first episode of Shop Tips. In this episode, I will be providing my favorite tips on dust collection, starting with how to collect dust on machines that normally have dust bags. Now this is a hand-operated planer. This is a Chicago Electric, so it's a Harbor Freight, and it's not very good, but it's what I have, and it functions. But as you can see, it's been connected to a shop vac. This is an old shop vac, but it still sucks, and it sucks quite well in this particular scenario. Now this is particularly good because it actually has a little switch here that I can flip that makes it come out of this side or this side. So first I'm going to fire it up to show you how much it's going to output, and then I'm going to fire up the shop vac and we're going to see how the shop vac handles the output of this. Now obviously this has some serious output. I'm going to set it to a nice low setting. Works. I'm going to put my ear protection on because I want to be able to hear when I'm 60. First, I have it set to the setting where it will output out of this side discharge, and you will be able to see how much it's outputting. Alright, as a fair warning, I'm not very good with this, but you can tell that that just got all over me, and that wasn't even a deep cut. If we cut a little deeper, oh my gosh, look at that. That is absolutely disgusting. All over me. On the floor, everywhere. This is going to have to get cleaned up with the shop vac later. But rather than doing that, which is a pain in the butt, you just start up the shop vac. So this time we have it switched so it will go into this output, and we are going to try it with the shop vac. Beware noise. So as you can see, we have quite properly flattened out this piece of wood. It actually looks very, very good. That's kind of surprising, actually. And given that, there is no more dust and no more wood chips than we started out with because they're all being sucked up by the shop vac. This is very good. All this is just a couple of hoses attached to each other. There's this right angle device that's been hammered in so it's not coming out and it angles forwards. And then I've got this little rubber thing clamped on there good. It's not coming off, and that way there is no more issues about dust. Now, just to make sure that you guys know it's not going anywhere funky, I'm going to do the same test with this thing out so you can see just how much is coming out of this. Oops, I need to give it some... Now just imagine if all of that nasty stuff went all over my shop all the time. I would freak out because it takes way longer to clean it up than it does to just do it right the first time. So this is something I absolutely recommend anybody who uses a hand planer does. Now this time we have a slightly more annoying tool, the belt sander. The belt sander, unlike the hand-operated planer, shoots out very, very tiny little bits of wood that are very, very difficult to clean up. It shoots them into this poorly constructed bag that, even when completely empty, doesn't really actually trap all the dust, as I will now show. It may in honesty be a little difficult to see, but there is in fact plenty of dust in the air, and there's quite a bit left on the piece of wood, which is going to make further processing more difficult. You can see all of this fine granular bit here. After a little bit of this entire table would be covered in this nasty sawdust. Now this is a little bit more difficult because I do not have a square adaptation for my shop vac. So we're going to resort to the handyman's secret weapon, duct tape. This is actually a lot more simple than you'd think. You just have to open the bag and you have to shove the nozzle inside the bag. Now this, unlike the other one, is not a permanent solution and it doesn't always work. It kind of depends on what you are using. Some belt sanders work with this, some do not. But with a little bit of duct tape magic, you can get that baby done real good. Now as you can see, it's been duct taped on. This is a much more of a cob job than the other way, but you'll never have to empty out your bag and you'll never have to worry about dust getting all over the place. Let's try it. This is a first time for this particular thing. So this idea certainly less effective than the idea with the planer, but it still works. And if I should suspect, yes, there is in fact less dust in the bag than we started out with. However, this design is not foolproof. This is a good idea if you're going to be doing a lot of sanding. If you're not doing a lot of sanding, it's a waste of your time. Now, as you'll notice, this is a different location than our standard location. This doesn't look like my normal workbench because this workbench has lots of little holes in it. Now, this is really just a box with a hole in the side and lots of holes on the top, or in fact, it's pegboard. It's a box with pegboard attached to it. So, being that this box is covered in pegboard and it has a hole in the side, you wonder, what does it need that for? And that's because it's actually a sanding table. This table is able to suck all of the sawdust in through these holes. So, we have our shop vac ready to go. We have our ear protection, and we have a very nice DeWalt palm sander. These things throw dust everywhere, and this thing is useless. So we're going to see if this thing will get the job done. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that worked because there is absolutely no dust on this piece of wood at all, and no dust in the air. You know, it's a little hard to see that being so fine and kind of in crappy condition. So we have this little toolkit that got some dust on it from the last project I did in this area. Let's see if this will clean it off. All I had to do was remove the sawdust with my hand and then run it around on here. All got sucked right in. So this is a really good idea Maybe not as good of an idea with my shop vac. My shop vac is a little wimpy and it's kind of noisy. But if you have a really, really nice shop vac, this is something you should absolutely consider building. They take maybe a couple hours to build, maybe $20 worth of materials. And this will make your shop life a lot. So I hope you take these tips home with you and you take them into your shop to make your shop life a little bit better and a little bit cleaner. You know, maybe extend the life of your electronic devices and overall make your lungs feel a little bit nicer. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week in the next episode of either Tool Head to Head or Shop Tips.